It was late, the kind of late where you either crave something quiet to kill time or wish you'd gone home hours ago. I was in the mood for a horror film, something to chill me out before bed, and the only theater nearby was the old one just down the street. It wasn't much, but it had character. Dank carpets, flickering lights, and a crowd that didn't seem to care about the latest releases. That night, the theater was nearly empty. A few scattered people, all the way in the back, but for the most part, I had the place to myself. I wasn't there for the movie, honestly. The film was some obscure 80s slasher, the kind you could tell was meant to be funny, but tried way too hard. I bought my ticket, grabbed some overpriced popcorn, and walked into the dark theater. The seats were still warm from the last show, and the smell of old butter lingered in the air. The movie hadn't started yet, so I took my time settling it. That's when I noticed him. He was sitting a few rows down. At first, I didn't think anything of it. People come in late sometimes. But then he turned to look at me. We made eye contact, and for a split second, I could have sworn I knew him. But no, I didn't recognize him. He was young, maybe in his 20s, wearing a hoodie and jeans, but his eyes, they were too focused. It felt off, like he wasn't just looking at me, but through me. I tried to shake it off, but the feeling stayed. I looked away and tried to focus on the movie, but I kept glancing back. It's like my brain couldn't stop. The guy didn't move. He just sat there, still, watching me. When I looked again, he was standing. Not moving, but standing. As if he was about to walk over to me, but stopped just short. I couldn't take it anymore. I stood up and walked to the back of the theater. Maybe I needed a break. The last thing I wanted was to feel trapped, so I went into the lobby. When I walked out into the dimly lit lobby, it was chillingly quiet. The ticket counter was empty, and no one else was around. I thought about grabbing a drink, or maybe just walking out and calling it a night. But then I saw him again. The guy from the theater. He was standing near the concession stand, his back to me. It wasn't until I got closer that I realized something was off. His posture, it wasn't natural. He was stiff, like a mannequin. I didn't even know why, but I felt a chill go down my spine. "Hey," I said, trying to break the tension. "Are you lost or something?" He didn't respond. He just stood there. Then, a voice from behind me made me jump. "He's not going to talk." I turned around fast, startled. A man in a worn-out leather jacket was standing there, arms crossed, eyes narrowing. I didn't recognize him either, but his face was familiar in a strange way, like I should know him. "You need to leave," he said, his voice low. Now, I didn't know what to do. I wasn't scared, but I was uncomfortable. Something wasn't right, and I knew it. The guy in the hoodie didn't move, but I could feel his presence behind me, like a weight pushing down on my shoulders. I nodded and took a step toward the door. As I passed the guy in the hoodie, he turned to look at me, finally making a sound. A small, barely audible laugh. It didn't sound human. I rushed out of the lobby and into the cold night air, my heart racing. I glanced back at the theater just to make sure I wasn't imagining things. The lights were dim inside, but I could see the shadows moving. That was when I realized I had left my jacket in the theater. I didn't want to go back, but I needed my jacket. I took a deep breath, turned around, and walked back to the entrance. The door was locked. That didn't make sense. The theater was supposed to be open all night. I tried the door again, harder this time. It didn't budge. The streetlights flickered. My breath came out in clouds, my mind racing. Something told me to leave. I should have just gone home, but I couldn't. Finally, the door creaked open. I stepped back inside, but it wasn't the same. The movie had ended. The screen was blank, the seats empty, except for one person in the front row, the guy in the hoodie. I froze. His face was turned toward me, but his eyes were completely black. Before I could turn around, the door slammed shut behind me. I spun back, but the hallway I had walked down earlier was now gone. Instead, there was a door leading deeper into the theater, a place I hadn't noticed before. The air was thick, and the only sound I could hear was my heart pounding in my chest. Without thinking, I stepped forward. Something was pulling me inside, and just before I opened the door, I heard it again. The laugh. That same unnatural laugh. This time, it was right behind me. I never did find my jacket.